morning and welcome in Ariccia, in the Chigi Palace. My interview today is about the contest. We will speak about paintings and furnitures that are today in the palace, but I like to speak more about the relation of these pieces with the halls, with the rooms in their contest. In fact, in many museums in all the world, we can appreciate paintings, sculptures, furnitures, but in origin they weren't in the museums. Probably in many cases the original places are lost or were destroyed. But in Ariccia is a particular case because we can appreciate the relation with decorative arts, furnitures and paintings with an original contest. In fact, here there are not only pieces of art, but they are part of the history of the family, in this case the Chigi family, and they are also element of architecture, of design, because in the past their relation was more important the individual importance of the pieces. We will expose few paintings, few furnitures, but more speaking about the relation with the space and the relation with the place where they were born.
Good morning, good afternoon. I'm so happy to be with you again, Francesco. Thank you for your time and all of this, wonderful collaboration.
It's only a pleasure to stay here with you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, we've already got people writing in good wishes to seeing you, and we're just thrilled to bring this next installment of our collaboration with the Chigi Palace and the Auburn Study Abroad program. And I'm Cindy Malinek. I'm the director and chief curator at the Jule Smith Museum of Fine Art. And we're just thrilled to see you again and welcome everyone to this engagement. And we're so grateful that you've taken some time to think about some special spaces and pieces at the palace that you're going to share with us, and we'll have a little bit of a chat over the next hour about these specific pieces that you've highlighted, and then hopefully we will have some time for some questions and answers. So why don't we begin?
Yes. Yes, we are in the chapel of the Chigi Palace. It forms a part of the original Savelli Castle, but it was restored by the Chigi under the direction of Bernini and Carlo Fontana. On the walls you can see the leather, the precious Spanish leather, but made in Rome, imitating gold, velvet and gold. On the altar there is a fresco with the two saints canonized by Alexander VII, San Tommaso da Villanova and San Francesco di Sales, when he was Pope. But on the left wall there is the masterpiece of the room, the famous Sanguine of Bernini, representing Saint Joseph with the child. Under the fresco, under the frame, there is a window. This is the painting. Is an emblem a kind of signature of Bernini for all the works and projects he made for Ariccia. But in the same time is a very rare iconography of paternal love. In fact, always we have the mother, the Virgin, with the child, with Jesus' child, not the father. Saint Joseph, the old Saint Joseph, is on the back, distant from the center of the composition. But in this case, he is protagonist. Is absolutely a rare iconography in not only in Italian art. These paintings express the sentiment, the love of the father for his son, and he protected him. Look, the nose is very close, probably want to kiss his son. Is a revolutionary painting, but also the technique is very rare, is very particular, because Bernini used red chalk, the sanguine, but lapis, and he painted also with the gouache. And he finished this composition with using the fingers for the nuance.
Oh my.
Avanti.
And Francesco, can you say a little bit about Bernini as a father himself, and what he thought about Saint Joseph toward the end of his life, even?
Yes, a little problem for me and for the scholars was to understand the reason of this very strange, very particular iconography in the chapel of the Chigi Palace. I thought that probably Bernini wanted to give a tribute to the land lord, to the feudal lord, the Prince Agostino Chigi. In fact, his wife, Maria Virginia Borghese, gave him a son after two daughters. And it was very important for the dynasty, because all the title, all the patrimony passed to the firstborn, and he became the new Prince Chigi. So it was an event. Augusto Chigi, the son, was born in October, and only a few months later, Bernini made this. But there is probably another reason. Bernini, in his will, wrote that he wanted to recommend his soul to Saint Joseph, because Saint Joseph was the patron of craftsmen, of artisans, and he helped him for his profession of artist, but also for his difficult work of father.
Right. And then, speaking of craftsmanship, this piece, as we're seeing it now, is restored, but we have an image, I think, next of it pre-restoration. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, this is a very old photograph. The first photograph we have of this painting and drawing, because it is a mixed work about 100 years ago, and you can see many cracks on the wall, because under the painting there is a window. In fact, more than 20 years ago, about 20 years ago, I directed the restoration of the palace, and I ordered to close the window with bricks to protect better this fresco.
Okay. And so I think we're going to go next to another space in the palace, the red and yellow room, which I all of these spaces are breathtaking, and I have never had the privilege of visiting. I hope I get to someday. I know we have many people watching today that have visited, but maybe you could tell us similarly, Francesco, about this room and some of the pieces. I see one piece here in particular. I recognize it's here right now in Auburn, but please share about this beautiful room.
Yes. This is one of the rooms of the halls in the Savelli Castle, but it was completely decorated with the Chigi family. We have the portraits of Chigi family of the 17th century. The roof was decorated in the 16th century, also the frieze, but there was a restoration under the Chigi, and they put the Chigi symbol in the center of the frieze. But yes, in the center there is a marvelous bust of Alexander VII, a masterpiece of Melchiorre Caffà. But in the two sides we have two tables, two masterpieces designed by Bernini.
Well, let's look at those more specifically. We have some images, I think, of those up close that you could share with us a little bit. These are pre-restoration, these tapestries, my gosh.
Okay. Please, the image before.
Oh, this one. Mm-hmm.
Sorry. This is Palazzo Chigi in Rome. It was the principal residence of the family, and they sold to the Italian state the Chigi Palace in 1917. And today the palace is the residence of the President of Italian Republic, Mario Draghi, Professor Mario Draghi. But the great part of the Chigi collection was in origin in this palace. Also, these two tables were here. If you pass to the next image, yes, you can see on the right wall one of the two tables.
Yes.
And on the table there is a black pillow in marble and the skull made by Bernini, and now it is lost.
Oh.
Yes. The next image, on the left side, there is the other table, another pillow in marble, and a child. This group of two sculptures represented the life and the death.
And these two tables were in Rome, and now they're at the palace in Ariccia.
Yes. Probably today they are in Switzerland, in a private collection in Switzerland.
Oh, okay.
Well, the next, this is one of the two tables. Bernini was a genius, so also in decorative arts, in the Roman furnitures, he made a revolution. Bernini, the idea of Bernini was to naturalize his architecture and architects' nature. He wanted the nature in the palaces, in the church, and he designed furniture, liturgical furnishings, carriages, frames, fabrics, in particular for the popes Urban VIII and the Pope Chigi. In this case, Bernini designed 8 cornucopies. The cornucopia is a symbol of happiness, of abundance, of fertility. This is the letter. And but outside of the tables, we have fruits, we have flowers, but we have also the Chigi symbol, the oak.
The oak leaf, exactly. And I remember speaking with you earlier, Francesco, about Bernini as an artist and a painter, but then also, as you're saying, he was an architect and a furniture designer, and we both agreed that a more modern day version perhaps could be Frank Lloyd Wright, who you have studied as well, who also did similar work in terms of architecture, but furniture and textiles and windows and all of those things. This is a gorgeous image as well, this table.
Yes, yes, but they are very rare also because the great part of this furniture designed by Bernini are lost, were destroyed. So today we don't know. We have very few examples, and this table are fantastic because you have to think, you have to know that there is a book about the Italian Baroque furniture, and they are the cover. So they are probably the most important furniture of the Roman Baroque in Italy.
And is the marble, are those marble tops? Was that quarried in Italy?
The marble is another very rare marble is Diaspro di Sicilia from Sicily. It's one of the 5 marble tube more precious in the world, and now is finished. Bernini used this kind of marble, red, green, and white, only in the precious architecture for altars and for columns close to the altars in the church. So also the marble is rare.
It's just so beautiful, so beautiful. And the base is wood and then gilt as well, gold paint, gold leaf on top.
The base is carved, painted, and gilded wood. Artisan was Antonio Chigi, but the tradition, the inventories gave us the name of Bernini. But also the Prince Chigi, when we bought the palace, he told me, these tables were designed by Bernini. But I was lucky because studying in the Vatican archive, I found the documents, the payment to Antonio Chigi for 2 tables following the design, the drawing of Bernini. So we have the documents.
Oh, perfect. Provenance. So now we're gonna remain in the red and yellow room, but now you're gonna focus on some of the portraits that are hanging in this space, and this is a different view.
Yes, we are in the first floor. This is the apartment of the Cardinals Chigi. And in origin, it was the apartment of the Cardinal Flavio. When he went in Ariccia in summer, he stayed here in this apartment. And this was the study of the Cardinal, very close to his bedroom. On the walls, you can see the same leather of the panels you have today in Auburn. Designed by Bernini for the Roman residence of the Cardinal Flavio Chigi in Piazza Santi Apostoli. When the Cardinal died in 1693, this leather came in Ariccia. And we have 2 rooms with this fantastic leather. But on the walls, you have portraits. On the left wall, we have the portrait of Maria Virginia Borghese and the Prince Agostino Chigi. And in the right walls, we have the Cardinal Sigismondo Chigi, the cousin of Flavio, and a marvelous portrait of the Pope Clement the Ninth of the Rospigliosi family.
Yeah, and let's go to the next one so you can talk to us some more about this portrait and the Pope. I see again some symbolism of the Chigi family in the frame, but please tell us more.
This is a double masterpiece. Because you have to think that this kind of frames with velvet and carved gilded wood are extremely rare. Alvar Gonzalez Palacios, who is the best scholar in the world of furniture, told me that, only these frames. We have in the Chigi Palace 5 frames with this level, with this technique. And they are typical of the Roman Baroque, and probably they are Bernini workshop. Probably Giovanni Paolo Shore is a collaborator in design, projected this frame. But inside there is another masterpiece, the portrait of Clement the Ninth, painted by Basiccio. This is the portrait. Giovan Battista Gaulli, called Basiccio, was a pupil of Bernini. Bernini in painting, and it expressed the Bernini portraiture, this speaking likeness, we say, or living portrait, because the Pope is speaking, is blessing and speaking. And Bernini want to catch, Basiccio, that was a pupil of Bernini, want to catch a moment in the life of the person. In the same time, this portrait expressed the profound spirituality, but also the fragility of his health. In fact, this Pope died, was Pope only for 2 years, from 1667 to 1669. We have 2-3 replicas of this portrait, because, but the first original prototype is this painting for the Cardinal Flavio Chigi, because Flavio Chigi helped the Cardinal Rospigliosi to be elected Pope. And so the first portrait was for the Cardinal Flavio Chigi. Then there is a replica in the Rospigliosi collection, and today is in the Palazzo Barberini in the National Gallery.
The realism is, I mean, he does look like he's about to bless us, looking at us, and I'm struck by his eyes, and almost a slight smile.
Yes, he's smiling and opening his mouth.
Yes.
He is speaking, but if you see the original painting, it's incredible. The face is incredible. The quality of the skin, of the eyes, the expression,
Yes.
Psychological portrait.
It really draws you. It really draws you. It draws me in. I mean, it's so. It's almost like a photograph.
Yes, because but it's more than a photograph, because Basiccio was a very great artist, and he wanted to enter in the soul of the person. He wanted to express his character, not only the physiognomy. So is a very high portraiture.
And he did capture his soul, to be sure. Just beautiful.
But in the same time, if you look at the mozzetta, the red clothes in velvet, is typical Baroque.
Yes, it's
the passion of carve, of flesso, is typical Baroque. So this portrait is realistic, but it's also a portrait, a painting of his time.
Yes, I see that. I see that. Yes. So I think we're going to move on next to this incredible series of paintings of angels that are located in different places. And we were talking yesterday about the notion of a series, but please share with us about these rooms as we go through these slides.
Yes, we are in the biggest room of the palace, called Sala Maestra. In this room we have concerts, spectacles, many activities. It's the center of the activities of the palace. In the second level we have big, very huge angels, about more than 3 meters tall, and but on the Above the large fireplace, we have an enormous painting of Baciccio representing the Blessed John Chigi. And two oval paintings made by Mattia Preti, other masterpieces. Yes, in the other side we have of the room, we have the portrait of the Pope. The next, please.
The next, please. Yes.
Ecco. This is Alexander the Seventh. Is the patron, and Saint Augustine. But today we will speak of this group, incredible group of angels.
Yes.
The next, please. They are models, cartoons for the mosaics of St. Peter Dome. The Dome of St. Peter is a huge, very huge. You have to think that it is tall 123 meters, and it is large. The diameter is 42 meters. It's a huge, very huge. And Michelangelo projected the cross of St. Peter, and then in a second moment he projected the dome. But in 1564, Michelangelo died. And so a pupil of Michelangelo, Jacopo della Porta, continued the work and finished the dome.
And I think we have a detail of that coming up next. Here we are.
Yes. At this point, the Pope Clement the Eighth of the Aldobrandini family gave to Cavalier d'Arpino, Giuseppe Cecari, called Cavalier d'Arpino, he was a knight like Bernini, to decorate all the dome with mosaics. And Cavalier d'Arpino projected 65 panels with angels, with apostles, and in the top there is God the Father. It was an incredible work, very long. They worked for more than 20 years to finish this big work. And in Ariccia survived the cartoon, the models for angels that today are in the dome.
Okay, and that's our next slide. I honestly think 20 years doesn't seem like long enough to have done all of that work, but that's it's quite a feat. And then here are the models, as you were mentioning.
See, but the problem was Cavalier d'Arpino made drawings. Then Cavalier d'Arpino is famous to be the master of the teacher of Caravaggio. Caravaggio worked with Cavalier d'Arpino because Cavalier d'Arpino was the first artist in Europe. And he had many commissions, not only from the popes, but also from kings. And he became Knight of Christ. And when he was working, he made sketches, he made drawings, he made also big panels. But these cartoons were made for the mosaicists, because the artisan could copy, when they made the mosaics, these big paintings. So probably this painting in origin, they were put on the dome, close to the walls of the dome, to copy them. When the Cavalier d'Arpino finished this work, the Savelli family, the Prince Savelli was a great and important aristocratic family, took them in Ariccia. We have 8 angels. The other were in the Abbey of Monte Cassino, and they were destroyed in the Second War. So remain only these angels.
In this piece in particular, she's holding the crown of thorns from referencing the crucifixion.
Yes, because a part of these angels are with symbols of the Passion of Christ.
Right.
Yes.
And so the next one, I think.
This is with the cross.
Yes.
And these angels are marvelous, but they are huge, very huge figures. We have to restore, but this is very expensive, very difficult to restore.
Yes.
So big painting. But they are a fusion of mannerism and naturalism, because Cavalier d'Arpino was a mannerist, probably the last mannerist, but he opened to the also to the Baroque art.
And the next one is
Yes,
this
with the
with the wings, very, very prominent this time.
See, in relation with the Passion, the face is not original. It was restored not by us, but the Chigi family. The
Yes.
face is not original, so we have to restore. But you have to think that these big cartoni, like Ariccia, were used to decorate the biggest hall in the biggest palaces in Rome. Also in Palazzo Barberini, there are curtains from St. Peter, mosaics, not from the dome, from another part, because all St. Peter was decorated with mosaics.
Yeah.
And the models were very huge. And so we have another part of the models of St. Peter are in the church, in the Basilica of Santa Maria degli Angeli in Rome.
And Francesco, when you say that this piece in particular needs to be restored because of the face, how would you go about that? You obviously would hire a conservator, an expert conservator, but would you do it while the public could see? How would you go about restoring this?
But today we have a project. The problem to restore this painting is that they are tempera, not oil on canvas, but tempera on canvas.
Right.
So is more delicate. And in the past, probably rain inside. And we have a project with the Istituto Centrale del Restauro to restore this painting. But the problem is if we take out this painting, the room remain without all this painting. So it's not easy.
Yes.
But we have a project. I hope that the next year we begin to restore one all.
Excellent. And then I think we have another one. I mean, I am struck with all of these with the various shades of yellows and mustards, and this one has a beautiful kind of canary yellow background. And again, the wings more prominent.
The back is gold because is the mosaic, the golden mosaic of St. Peter. But the variety of the poses reflect the great creativity of the artist of Cavalier d'Arpino. He decorated also not only St. Peter, but also the Basilica of San John in Lateran and Santa Maria Maggiore. And in Naples, the Church of San Martino, and many other palaces in Rome, and not only Rome. So he was a leader for more than 40 years. I like in particular this angel. It's very, very beautiful, very elegant, the pose of the angel. Yes, he's an angel without a symbol, without nothing. But is like an academy. This is another angel.
And so referencing the Baroque with these flowing, kind of dramatic capes and drapes, so forth. This one.
Yes, this painting is incredible because the pose of the angel is praying, is in affection to God. Was copied by Guido Reni, and then also Bernini imitated with sculpture this angel. So this is fantastic. So Cavaliere d'Arpino is an artist between Manierism and Baroque.
Mhm.
These paintings are Baroque painting. This is in a very bad condition. This, in fact, we want to begin the restoration with this painting. This angel is crying.
And I noticed there's some sort of medallion or something kind of on the chest.
Yes, yes. The water. I think that before we bought the palace and we began to restore the palace, there were problems because the palace was in bad condition.
Yes.
Bad condition, and so the water could enter, and painting like this received a problem with this. But now we can restore. We can begin to restore.
Thrilled to hear that. And I know that there are other pieces though that are in wonderful condition, and so we're going to move
Yes.
into the this glorious room, and there's one of my favorites, the summer, that is now at Auburn. But tell us about this space, would you? And then we can talk about the seasons here.
Yes, this is a very important group of paintings of the Baroque art, because the commission, the Cardinal Flavio Chigi, when he became cardinal only 2 years later in 1657-58, ordered to Mario De Fiori, Mario Nuzzi called Mario De Fiori, to project a group of paintings, and the subjects was the 4 seasons. But Mario De Fiori made only the flowers. There were specialists of historian painting of figures who made the figures. The first on the right is Bacchus. Then the summer you have in Auburn this painting painted by Maratta, and the spring. But in origin, this painting were in Rome, in the palace of the Cardinal Flavio Chigi in Piazza Santi Apostoli, projected by Bernini. Then, after the death of the Cardinal in 1693, they passed in the Chigi Palace in Piazza Colonna. So they arrived in Ariccia only 1 century ago, and they remain in this room.
And this is obviously a dining room, and I see 2 side tables as well as some busts. Are those also Bernini designed or inspired?
Yes, this is the winter dining room, and you have also the summer dining room in another part of the palace. Also in this room you can see leather, another kind of leather, variety of leather. And the 2 tables are Rococo. We are in the 18th century, not 17th century.
Right.
Another moment.
Why is this the winter dining room? Was it warmer in this room than this?
Now we will see. We will see. The next. This is the portrait of Mario De Fiori, made by Giovanni Maria Morandi. Morandi was a specialist, was a Florentine painter. He went to work in Rome, and he made many portraits of all the cardinals, but also the portrait of the Pope Alexander VII, and the portrait of the Cardinal Flavio Chigi. This is a typical Baroque painting. Caravaggio introduced a revolution in the painting. He wanted to create a connection of the representation with the spectator, with the person like us that they are looking the painting, the representation. In fact, Mario De Fiori is looking us, and we probably disturb him when he was painting these flowers. So on the canvas you can see the flowers is painting, but the quality of the flowers is incredible. This is an explosion of flowers. This is naturally the spring. The painter was Filippo Lauri, of a Flemish origin. He was born in Rome, but his name was Lauwers. And he made his specialization was little paintings on copper, on wood. This is the only big painting with big figures we know of this painter.
And you can certainly see the flowers again. So the two different techniques, and knowing the scale now, we know at least the piece. Those that have gotten to see the piece here at Auburn, these are they weigh more than 200 pounds. They're enormous.
See, yes, this is the masterpiece. We spoke last week about this painting. Probably Carlo Maratta was the leader of this group of painters, because after the death of Bernini in 1680, he became the prince of the artists in Rome. And he became also Knight of Christ, like Bernini, like Cavaliere d'Arpino. And this is one of the painting when he was young. He was a young artist when he made this painting, this masterpiece.
And then here's Autumn.
And also Giacinto Brandi, who made the Autumn, was a great artist in Rome, one of the 4 or 5 most famous artists in the second half of the 17th century. In every painting, the allegory of the season is in relation with a god, a mythologic god. This is Dionysus or Bacchus, the god of grape. But there is not only grapes, only fruit, also fruit. And this is the winter, the last painting of the group. Bernardino May was an artist from Siena, the same origin of the Pope of the Chigi family. The family come from Siena. And the father of Raffaello Vanni, another artist, was the patron of baptism of Alexander VII. So he was very close to this artist and wanted Bernardino May to come in Rome. And the Pope gave many commissions to Bernardino May. And this is one of his masterpieces of great elegance. And the flowers in the back on the background are very brilliant. The quality is very high. We restored this painting. They are in very good condition.
Oh, good. And Francesco, I'm trying to see the fruit in this down in the right-hand corner. Are those persimmons or pomegranates? I can't quite.
But the fruits are also in relation with the period of the years. In fact, we had chestnuts, and also the fire. If you look in the center, there is a fire, but the quality of the painting is very realistic. Also, the fruit, it's incredible.
Yes.
They are considered the masterpieces of Italian and also European still life painting, this group of paintings.
Just astonishing. Well, speaking of masterpieces, pieces in beauty, let's talk about these beauties as they are referred to. And tell us about this room, please, and some of the portraits that we're seeing here, some of which are also in Auburn right now.
Yes, in the Chigi Palace today we have 2 different rooms, 2 series of portraits that are connected to monothematic collecting taste. the gallery of the beauty and the gallery of the nuns. So the salient aspect of the Baroque age find in this contrast an expression very realistic, life and death, appearance and substance, fashion and tradition, sacred love and profane love, ostentation and reserve. And the Cardinal Flavio Chigi gave to a Flemish painter, Jacob Ferdinand Wood, the commission to paint the portrait of the most beautiful aristocratic girls that were in Rome. So on the back of the canvas, we have the name of every girl, but they come from aristocratic families like Colonna, like Rospigliosi, like Borghese, the greater Roman families, but following the French fashion.
Right.
Yes.
We have an archival view. Here's a different view of this
Yes.
room.
Yes, we have an old photograph more than 100 years ago of the same room. It remained similar. We have the same portrait, but when we bought the palace, there were only 11 paintings. The original collection in 37. But because a part of these paintings were lost, but we found new paintings, and today we have 27 from the original collection. 28. So remain only 9
Missing.
to find.
Mm-hmm.
And this is
Do you still look for them? I'm sorry to interrupt you. Do you still look for the 9? Do you believe they still exist?
See, this is the French fashion. In Italy, in Europe, but in particular in Italy, we have 2 moments in the history of the 17th century. In the first part of the century, we have the Spanish domination. The king of Spain was the most rich person because with the property of Latin America, they have silver, they have gold, they were very rich. But in the second half of the century, the power, the influence, the cultural influence passed to French, and the king Louis XIV, the king's son, became the leader, and also the French fashion arrived in Italy through the sister Mancini. In particular, Maria Mancini was the first love of the king. And then she married the Prince Colonna. And when she arrived in Rome in the 60 years, she introduced the French fashion like this, but very scandalous for the popes for this period. But very various also the variety of the clothes. Part of this girl had wigs, flowers and decoration, very fast decoration, and it's a document. We are about 1670, 1675. These paintings were painted.
All of the lace and the bows. It's
in fact,
ornate.
The movie director and the designer and the fashion designer like very much this painting, because for them they are a document. They are a document, and we have the documents. So we have the date of the production of these paintings. This is Savelli. She was the daughter of the last prince, Giulio Savelli, who had the property of the Chigi Palace, and then he sold the palace to the Chigi family in 1661. and she is Flaminia Pamphili Savelli. She married a Savelli, the last Prince Savelli, before the family was extinguished. And then,
And I, of course, noticed her jewelry as well, her necklace, her pearl necklace, and those drop earrings. And also look at her gaze. I mean, she's looking right at you.
yes, this is the Marchesa Sacchetti. We was possible to. I wrote a book about this artist, Jacob Ferdinand Wood, because he became very famous in Italy. Then he worked in French, and he died in Paris. But in Italy, he made many portraits in Rome and then in other cities. This is the Nuns room. The contrast between the two rooms is very strong. This is in the same noble floor of the Ariccia Palace. The religious depicted are all united by close ties and kinship, sisters in the cloister and by consanguinity. The portraits, partly the work of portrait copyist Pietro Paolo Vigli, were probably in origin in a monastery in Siena. And only after 1870, with the Italian state, many monasteries were suppressed. And this collection then passed in Ariccia, in this room. We have all the nuns were relatives, sisters or cousins. A great part were the daughters of Maria Virginia Borghese and Agostino Chigi. He had 17 sons, 13 daughters, and and a part of them entered into different monasteries, one in Siena, a Franciscan monastery in San Girolamo in Campanzi, the other in a Dominican monastery in Rome. And this is the Badessa. Badessa was the master, was the leader of the monastery, and Suor Maria Pulcheria Chigi. She was the sister of the Prince Agostino Chigi. And she protected her nephews when they entered in the monastery in Siena, in the Franciscan monastery. But she also promoted their arts, and she organized in the monastery concert of classic music, of religious opera, we say melodrama, with religious subject. But the monastery was a monastery or a cloister of clausura, and so they could have contact only for particular festival, particular events. This is a beautiful painting of Alessandro Mattia Farnese, and this is a nephew. She was one of the daughters of Agostino Chigi and Maria Virginia Borghese. We have also the inscriptions, original inscription with the name of the girl. In fact, her name was Francesca Serafina, Francesca, but she changed her name and became Angela. So they changed their name, and we know something about their life, and but there was a great contrast between them and the Chigi beauty. But yes, but it's in this group of nuns, of sisters, are the only of the Chigi family, because in the 17th century, in the 18th century, 19th century, we don't have nuns in the Chigi family, only in the 17th century.
And as you were saying earlier to me, many were forced to become nuns.
Sì, this is a portrait of novizia. Domenica novizia is before to be nun. In fact, the veil is white, and then when she will be nun, the veil will be black. This is a very beautiful portrait made by Ferdinand Wood, the same artist who made the beauty. Laura Chigi, her name was Laura Chigi. Then when she entered in the monastery, she changed her name and became Sor Flavia Virginia. And
about how old is she here, do you think? Do you know?
what?
About how old? What is her age? Is she 15 or 16?
No, she was about 14 years old when he entered in the monastery. 14. I could study the life of this girl because in the monastery in Rome, in the Dominican monastery, there is an archive, and I found document about her life. She also became Badessa, the leader of the monastery. She became Badessa, and this is her sister. Her sister who became nun. In fact, the veil is black. We have the portrait of her like a beauty, and made by Ferdinand Wood, and then only 1 month later, a portrait like a nun in the monastery. So is a contrast, but this group of painting is a document. This is a very rare document. So the Chigi Palace is like an archive of the history of Italy in the 17th and 18th century in the past. And a great aristocratic family.
I don't know how you go to work every day and work. I would be in every room just staring at the art all day. It's magnificent, and the palace is so lucky to have you.
Thank you. But it's a long job because to understand, to study everything is a long job. We know today more than we knew 30 years ago. But we don't know whole. No. There are also many things to understand better, to study better, and the job is long.
Yes. Well, that gives people that are interested hope that they can become involved and come and work with you and learn like we have today. This has been just so special. Thank you so much. This has just been lovely. I don't know if we have any questions. People have been sending good wishes to you again. I believe people that, students perhaps, that were part of the study abroad program. And are you all still on track to reopen next month, or at least bring welcome students back
next week?
Next week. Oh.
Next week we will open the palace. And I hope definitively we don't stop and we continue to open. So the next group of students arriving in May, they are like it because everything is opening. Yeah. And we are returning to the normality, I hope.
Oh, we all certainly hope that. And when so the exhibit here closes on May the 30th, and then it's going to go to 3 other venues in North America before it returns back to you in 2022, all of the pieces. So,
ciao Linda, ciao Carol, ciao Marilyn, and all my very good American friends. I wait for you in Ariccia.
Very nice.
Also you.
Thank you again, and I do so hope that I get to come in and visit and meet you in person. And I thank everyone who's joined us today. And thank you so much. And we'll be back on May 6th with one more engagement related to the exhibition. And until then, I wish everyone well. Be well, and thank you again.
Thank you.